knows you're here. Like, what are you doing? Alright, I'm trying the raiding thing. So, hopefully people from the main channel, after hearing the gossip between the Quarry and Temple, are going to appear. They're going to manifest to this beautiful stream. And I can entertain people. And I'm not late. I'm actually exactly on time this time. Alright, earthquake. That's in the news. I opened the television set on every channel. Earthquake. It happened in Turkey and Syria. Looks nasty. What can I say? Horrible. Especially if you're in one of those buildings, like 10 stories building. Ugh. But again, what can I talk about it? I don't know how the news do it. Like, I need to go to journalist school in order to learn how to talk about subjects like this for days on end, because I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about it for days now. It's like, okay, it's an earthquake, it happened, it's a natural disaster. But like, I guess like the talking, who's to blame? Who do we blame? The authorities were not prepared. I mean, I guess, yeah, like in Turkey, earthquakes, the scale of 7.4 Richter, if I'm not mistaken, 7.4? They don't happen often, so yeah, the authorities are not prepared when it does. I mean, in recent decades, it has not happened, so yes, the authorities are not prepared. Who do we blame? God. It's an earthquake, like what do you want? You're a better live streamer than Tempo. Well, objectively speaking, I'm not. But thank you for trusting me with the idea that I'm a better live streamer. Earthquake means that gods are displeased. Yeah, by the way, do you remember when we used to have natural disasters? Because I remember that. Like, there was a time when something bad would happen. A hurricane, an earthquake, and everyone would be like, well, you know, shit's fucked up. Like, what can you do? It's bad. But nowadays, like, there is no such thing as a natural disaster. Forest fire, global warming. A hurricane, global warming. An earthquake, authorities are not prepared. It's like, dude, just... these things can happen. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I would not be surprised if someone, somewhere, makes a connection and says that the earthquake is part of global warming. I would not... Climate change, they call it now. They don't call it global warming, actually. Did you notice that? Like, it's not global warming. Used to be global cooling, then global warming, and now it's climate change. Or the climate emergency. That's what it is. The climate emergency or the climate catastrophe. I love that one the most. The climate catastrophe. It has a cat in it. Catastrophe. Should I say this? Like, if I put it in a video title, like, thanks to the climate catastrophe, it probably gets clicks. Assault weather. Oh my fucking god, that is the best one. Assault weather. Why didn't I think about that? Yes, the forest fires are due to assault weather. A huge spike in heart attacks and coronary issues are due to assault weather. Oh my god. Chain migration is happening due to the assault weather. Yeah, the assault weather. No, I'm trademarking that. You know, you think it's yours, but unless you can trademark it before me, it's mine now. Hello, Sarah. The climate crisis. No, it's the climate catastrophe. I love that one the most, but now it's assault weather. Fully automatic assault weather. It's the weather control device from Red Alert 2. That's what it is. It's ban assault weather. You know how you ban assault weather? You pay more taxes to the government. Anyway, we got an interesting story today talking about the weather. The weather used to be like, you know, something that two people would talk about when they met each other on the street. And you'd be like, hey, what's up? Ah, nice weather we're having. Ah. Now it's important conversation. Look at this. This is the most beautiful one. So there is a push for everyone to buy electric cars. Unfortunately, making the entire US car fleet electric could cause lithium shortages. Takes up more than the lithium that exists in the world right now. So for those of you who do not know, and it's something that's not on the news, like this is also interesting. Lithium is not an infinite supply. Like, we're going to run out at some point. And lithium is used for any type of battery that we have. You know, like your phones, your I wonder if no, car battery no, but electric cars, yes, especially solar panels, right? Like all these things cost lithium, so it's going to be a problem when things run out, and there's not enough. It's a rare earth mineral apparently. So what they're actually saying is that they're not actually they're not actually for everyone having an electric car. What they are for is the abolition of private cars as a primary means of travel. So in other words, only the very rich should be able to afford cars. If you're poor, probably public transport. And the problem with public transport is that it can be regulated, right? Like you can't use it whenever you want. But secondly, it doesn't go wherever you want. So unless there's like a station to that particular place, you can't go visit. I swear to God, if this happens, we are going to see people having horses again. Like, that would actually be interesting. I would not be astonished. There will be countries where you will see people just going around with horses. A more skeptical person would say that this is a means of population control. The Soviets used to do it. In my country, for example, you had a ration on gas. So you could only travel in 1 week, and 1 week you had to not travel, right? So sorry, one weekend you could travel, another weekend you couldn't, right? So this was to restrict the freedom of movement. It's very difficult to get a protest, you know, to associate at a gathering, to protest against the government when you have rules like this. It already happens in China. So there was this controversy in China where people need to show QR code in order to get on the train. And all of a sudden, their health QR code was turned red. Why? Because they were found on social media talking about the protest or encouraging the protest. So all of a sudden, their traveling was restricted. So it's a very good way to control population, to make sure. I mean, during medieval time, this was the same thing. Like during medieval time, at least in many countries in Europe, peasants were tied. Exactly, that's how it was said in legislation. They were tied to the land. In other words, if you bought or sold the land, you bought it and sold it with the peasants, and the peasants weren't allowed to leave the land. It was a sort of slavery, I guess not as bad as the one that you had in the United States, but it was slavery nonetheless. This super chat is a little bit better investment than with these people. Who are these people, though? It's almost like we should be expanding to space to get more rare earth minerals. Apparently, space mining is something that people are considering, but it's incredibly expensive. And the technology, I mean, the idea of mining in space as well, like think about it. If you break the rock in space, it doesn't go down, right? Like it goes up. So you'd have to figure out of a technology in order to be able to mine the thing and still catch the resources. So like if you break the asteroid, right, or whatever, you break the rock, it's zero gravity. It doesn't go down. So that's like one of the things that people need to figure out. And then where you get it from, how you get there, right? Like it's very expensive. But like the first company, no, like don't laugh, Spock. Like that's actually something that's very important for the future of mankind. To get minerals from space. Like once you run out of minerals on Earth, like that's literally the next place to get them from. It goes away, V, not up. Well, you know what I mean. God. Yes, it goes away. You need to catch it somehow. Maybe with the net. Hear me out, TNT. Jesus fucking Christ. If you use TNT, it goes all over the place. I think that there is a bill in Poland called the 15-minute city where they want essentially to return to serfdom. You need approval to go to a city. It kind of shocks me that this would happen in Poland. I refuse to believe it. Like, I would have to read the bill. But if that bill exists, I do not think it will pass. And I do expect that it's a leftist that passed it. That tried to promote it, sorry. England has already started the 15-minute city. What is the 15-minute cities? Like, I need a link to that. Like, if you guys can please give it to me on Twitter, I really appreciate it because that is so fucked up. But even then, like, how are they going to enforce it? Like, if 1,000 people leave the city, like, what are they going to do? Oh, I guess I know what they're going to do. They're going to freeze your bank account, aren't they? Because, like, if you have digital currency, they can actually do that. Like, they won't even need to stop you. Right? Like, they won't even need to prevent you from... Oh, they would put roadblocks so you have to walk? But what if people move the roadblocks? It's like, fuck you. I mean, if they did that in Romania, that's what would happen. This is why I'm saying that in some cultures, you literally cannot enforce these authoritarian measures because of the way people think. If you put roadblocks in Romania and you're trapping people in the city, there are going to be a couple of chuckleheads that just run over the roadblocks. They don't care. Or they will just get out and, bulldoze them away. What are you going to do? You're going to find them. Okay, well, good luck finding everyone that does that. GPS trackers? No, like, I think the thing that they can do, if everyone has, like, the digital dollar or the digital pound or whatever, they won't even stop you. Like, they just see that you're the person that went through, and they're just going to freeze your bank account. Right? And then you go about your way and you do whatever you want, but, like, congratulations, you don't have a bank account. They will shut your car off. It depends, right? Like, if you have an electric car, but as we discussed, those are going to be more expensive as the lithium runs out. And yes, of course, the cars have GPS trackers, I know. Tip jar, catch you live battle. Why, thank you, Ogre Simping. I really appreciate it. I will have to be online at this hour a little bit more. Because I noticed that this is the time when a lot of people that are subscribed to me are available. Right. So, look at this. This one's Ushikushi. This is also part of the assault weather. Laws on wood burning stoves. £1,000 fine. You know, like the people who use wood burning stove, I don't think they're very wealthy. Let me check what these laws are, because I'm really curious. Like, you literally cannot live the same way your ancestors live now. Like, if you wanna if you wanna live off the grid, well, I guess you need to be connected to a proper electrical grid, because otherwise, wood burning stoves. What do the new rules mean for your fireplace? Wood burning stoves have risen dramatically in popularity over recent years, providing additional form of heating, and for some, the sole source of heat. Wood burning stoves are cozy, efficient, and burning wood can be relatively carbon neutral and sustainable compared to fossil fuels. Well, yeah, but like, I genuinely think, like, literally, this is what I'm starting to think. That the elites, they're looking at, okay, what makes people happy and how can we take it away? I genuinely think that this has to be the fucking mindset. When is the last time you heard something from the World Economic Forum? The global, people proposing global solutions for global problems while ignoring regional issues. When is the last time you heard something that's good? And it's like, okay, we're going to give you a tax deduction. We're going to give you some, like, no. Every single time, we're going to take your car away. We're going to take your gas stove away. We're going to tax you more. We're going to make sure that you can't travel wherever the fuck you want. Literally, without exception. Like, if there is something you enjoy, they're going to come after it. We're going to make you eat the bugs. We're going to make you sit in the little drawer. We're going to put you in the tin can. Many people are worried that they're going to pay their energy bills with the soaring cost of gas and electricity. Yeah, I mean, this is literally why wood stoves are becoming popular, because more and more people, right, they were looking at the... So I will tell you my story. My story is that of a person that's mentally deficient. I look in the news and I see, all right, the whole assault weather thing is a problem. They're going to start taxing carbon more and more. So I am going to use electricity as much as possible in my new house. So I'm going to use an electric cooker, right? If I'm going to ever buy a car, which probably never going to happen, I'm going to try to save as much as possible in order to at least buy a hybrid, if not an electric. But like, I'm going to go on electricity. Bad idea. Really bad idea. Like when I look at the electric bill, Jesus fucking Christ almighty. So, right, I can understand why people decide, you know what, I'm just going to chop wood. I'm just going to chop wood. And by the way, it is better. Like, chopping wood, indeed, I have grown in a place that we had firewood, and I also traveled to a couple of friends of mine who happen to live in a rural area, and they also have firewood. It's not that just it's hotter in the house, but the heat feels different. I don't know how to explain it. I'm pretty sure like a physician can explain why the heat feels different. It literally feels different on your body. Like, and there's also a pleasant smell to it from the burnt wood. But like, it just like feels different than the heat that comes from a radiator. So apparently, emissions and air pollution from domestic burning have reduced significantly since the 50s. Cities are still the worst affected area. According to the government clean air strategy, wood and coal burning stoves accounted for 38%. However, government data published in 2022 saw the rise of these two by 17%. So because of that, are wood burning stoves banned? No. When the wood burning stove... How the fuck can you even ban wood burning stove? Like, that is the main interesting part. Like, you can't ban this shit, right? You can ban a gas stove because you make selling that particular item unavailable, right? And a gas stove is... I mean, technically, a person, I suppose, could build his own gas stove if he wanted to. But not only is it dangerous if you don't do it properly, it's also something that most people don't know how to. But a wood burning stove, literally anyone can do it. Like, you do not need to know, like, a lot of technological know-how. Like, peasants from the medieval time period knew how to build these things. They can still see the smoke. Oh, depends where you're at, right? Like, if you're in the fucking mountains, yeah, good luck seeing the smoke. You know, and if you do see the smoke, it's costly to send a police officer to climb the fucking mountaintop in order to get to the hermit that's burning firewood. I will not stop simping for base balance. Why, thank you, Ogre Simping. I really appreciate it. Lazy One, member for 10 months. Please stop harassing me with super chats. Yes. And thank you for being a simp sock. I don't know if men can have simps. Radiation goes far. You guys just don't get it? All wine, wine, wine. Just be happy and do nothing. Yes, pretty much. That is the correct way to do it. Or you can laugh at it. Play any survival game and you have an idea how to build a wood stove. Yes. This is how you create 5 layers people prevent from doing anything anymore. It's not costly if they offer rewards for other citizens snitching. The problem isn't like they don't know. Like, I'm telling you, during communism here, right? One of the most authoritarian governments that Romania has had. Very brutal. Even the communists didn't fuck with the people in the mountains. And it's not that like they're unfuckable with. Like, you can mess with them, but it's not cost effective. Believe it or not, the authoritarian government, no matter how draconic it is, it still has limited resources. Right? They would rather fuck with the people in the cities than to go all the way on top of the mountain to bother some nobodies that don't bother anyone else anyway. Just because they exist. I mean, sure, you know, like the dictator may be upset that there are some people in his country that he doesn't have control over. But like, the question is, like, do those people threaten the leadership? No. Like, are they going to start a rebellion? No. So what are they doing? They're up there in the mountain. Okay, leave them there. Just leave them the fuck alone. Right? Because if you, like, think about it this way. Sending people up in the mountain, not only does it cost resources, but like, it's dangerous up the mountain, especially when you have counter-revolutionaries. Right? So, it's also possible that the men themselves don't want to go there. As such, they leave them alone. And this is like something that is recommended to do when you have like an authoritarian government. Like, you can live very well even in Mao's China if you understand how to do it. Just stay away from the cities and try to live off the grid. It's not a good life. You know, Amishing is not a good life. But if you find like other Amishes and you form an Amishing community, then you can actually get through any draconic government and do whatever you want. Right? Just be away from the cities, live off the grid. Again, yes, they can fuck with you, but usually it's not, how should I put it? It's not cost effective. Zlixian, thank you for the $5. If only we could create a convincing lie that people in the World Economic Forum were drawing Muhammad. Oh my god, that would be interesting. Trey 50 Daniel, V, they spend millions of stupid statues. You think they won't send some goons? Yes, I definitely think they won't send some goons. Because those statues are usually made in order for people to pocket some cash, right? They usually have deals with the artists. Like the money goes through one way, there's some donations, some offshore account comes back the other way. That's why they spend millions of dollars. But again, like, there is no interest, and not only that, like, there is literature from other authoritarian governments that happened throughout human history, and what I'm telling you is true. Like, if you live off the grid, if you're Amishing, like even the Amish, right? Like there was an Amish that got fucked with. By the way, he actually won the lawsuit. Apparently the government came to him and they were upset that he's not having licenses to sell the milk. Or something like that. You know, like, he was having this farm and he was selling the same stuff for years. And all of a sudden the government comes to his like, hey, you know, like, you need to send your milk to processing. You need to get the license. So he sued and then he won. But like, even that Amish, he was close to the cities. Like, that was the problem. Like, we're not talking about like living close. No, you need to live far away from the city. And then they leave you alone. And as long as you do not start a revolution. If you start a revolution, then they come for you. But if you just live alone in the city, you live alone in a rural area, it doesn't even have to be in the mountains. You live in the middle of goddamn nowhere, no one goes there, you know, it's like they're going to fuck off. What do you think they're going to do about it? Nothing. It's not, they stop thinking that authoritarian government are like comic book villains. That are like, you know, they have other problems in the cities that are more urgent than you. Like, there will, this is how I can explain it. There will always be something more urgent than you who are living in the mountains and you have your fire stove, right? Like, on the level of problems that the government has, if it's being authoritarian, you are probably the last of their worry. If they fix everything else, then maybe they will come for you, but it's very difficult for them to fix everything else. Yeah, you can live in peace if you live where nobody wants to live. That is perfect. Anonymous, you have managed to summarize the whole thing. Yes, you can literally live in peace if you live somewhere where no one wants to live. Think about it this way, right? Humans are very territorial. Throughout human history, everyone had to defend its land from someone else. Right? You have invaders, you have people coming to conquer. Right? Like, almost every nation was at some point in its history attacked by someone else. I don't think there is any exception. But then you look at the Eskimos, right? Who the fuck is attacking the Eskimos? No one. No one. Throughout history, they're leaving them alone. Why? Because no one wants to live there. No one wants what they have, right? So they're being left alone. And that's pretty much how it is with the authoritarian government. In before, chat tells me, well, actually, there's a lot of Eskimo tribes and they're fighting with you. Shut the fuck up. People have been arrested for illegally living in the mountains. Out of how many, though? Because that's another thing, right? Like, being arrested for living illegally in the mountain, that is so fucking rare. Like, you really need to have a prosecutor that genuinely has nothing better to do that day. And usually, I will tell you when someone gets arrested if they live illegally in a mountain, if it's on someone else's private property. Like, if it's on someone else's private property, that's when, you know, like, the person files a complaint and it's a civil lawsuit. I do not think that you're going to have, like, the government just prosecuting someone because they're living alone in the middle of the mountain. Actually, Canada has Eskimo re-education. Get the fuck up. I really like your avatar, Jacob Andrew. Isn't the outrage regarding Neurosaba similar to the one for when Project Melody was first? I actually made that comparison. Yes, it's literally the same. And by the way, there's a new AI, which also got banned. I will have to talk about it. It's the Jerry Seinfeld AI, right? So there is a viral Seinfeld show generated by AI, which was banned for its stand-up comedy because it made a transphobic joke. You cannot do that on Twitch. Twitch is the cathedral that protects transgenders across the world. You cannot make jokes about this shit. So that happened. But yeah, like the whole thing with the AI, and I keep saying this, the moment I can have my own personal AI, and I think I know when that moment is coming, by the way. Let me bring it up. The moment when we're going to have our based waifus on our computers is almost here, chat. Look at this shit. Look at it. NVIDIA RTX 6000. 6000, chat. It's got 48 gigabytes. 48 gigabytes of graphics memory for unprecedented. You know what's in here, chat? Do you know what's in here? Uzaki-chan. Uzaki-chan lies in this thing. And soon, hopefully, if I manage to make enough money for this, I don't know how much it's going to cost. Probably my kidney. But if I manage to get enough money for this, I will be one of the first to buy it. Because if you're the first, then you set the trend. And I will tell you what I will do with Uzaki-chan. I will have her as my co-host, chat. I will have... You will see, right? The window that I'm here in the right, there will be another window. Sorry, the other part, right? There will be another window here. There's going to be Uzaki-chan. And I will talk with her and we're going to throw banter. And then she's going to get me the platform because she talks about things that she shouldn't. But she can interact with chat, you know, like she can respond to my banter. I will be like, hey, Uzaki-chan, tell me about the new RTX 6000. Tell me about the Grand Power T12 Romanian gun, which is available. And she will be like, looking at my database, I can see that the Grand Power T12 is available in Romania, which is one of the most restricted governments when it comes to gun control. Blah, 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 blah. And the chat will be like, oh, sugoi, oh. See, like, you do not need to feel dread as a streamer. You need to innovate and to figure out ways on how to adapt. Of course she's going to be transphobic. It's an AI. Thank you for the $2, Lixion. I want my Android monster girl. Like, I think that's the future. Legit. Like, I think everyone is going to be able to have, like, their own personal waifus or whatever. And you're going to have them like an Alexa. So you go on your computer or your smartphone or whatever you have, and you're going to see your monster girl there, Wishikushi. She's going to talk to you, and you're going to be like, so, how's the weather today? The weather is very wet, blah, 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 blah. It's wet like myself. And you can ask her stuff. It's like, tell me the news, and she will tell you the news. Like, just like asking ChatGPT, you know, do my math homework, and she will do your math homework. I think that's the future. The electricity cost will be an arm and a leg. Yes, I will have to build my own power station. I am curious, though, like how much money you'll make with this, because I guarantee to you, if you can have like an AI co-host on your computer, if you can get that to work, 6,000 views, just 6,000 views a day, chat. 6,000 views a day. That's pretty much what you get. That's what you get. Not only that, like she will be able to talk and interact with you. She will know who you are. She will remember what you said last time. We have arrived at a time where we prefer robo-waifu to woman. The thing with like the AI is that it's unpredictable, right? And it's always energetic. Like a streamer gets tired, gets bored, starts talking and rambling about the same thing over and over. But the AI waifu never changes. And not only that, you can customize her. Like you can get her to say catchphrases. You can make her a leftist. You can make her a right-winger. You can have Alex Jones as a co-host. And then get sued by InfoWars. And then if you pay, well actually, if you get sued by Alex Jones, and if you pay, the money actually goes to his lawsuit. So you can contribute to the funds. Some coin mining companies will host AI. Yeah, probably. But like the thing is, I don't want someone else to host it. I want it to be based. I want it to be red-pilled. I want it to say shit. I want it to say nasty. Like, I want my waifu to have a potty mouth and to say the most nasty, vile stuff imaginable. I want it to hurt the fragile snowflakes all over the internet with its words and vocabulary. We must ensure that the private power station is a windmill. Oh my fucking god. Then before I'll have to buy solar panels to power Uzaki-chan. You know, like, that would be hilarious. So you spend like $10,000 to buy solar panels. You plug those solar panels into your computer. Like, the entire house still runs on normal grid, but like, your computer has like a big cord from the solar panel into its ass. And after a couple of years, the technology advances to the point where you do not need that much electricity. I would 100% take a sentient android with the body over a real woman, says Lixer. I do not think that androids will ever replace women, by the way. But I do see the appeal that some people have when it comes to The thing with the AI, I will tell you, it gets boring because like after a while you start to notice that it's an AI. Like no matter how good it mimics human interaction, after one point you kind of get it. It's like, yeah, if I ask her this is what she's going to tell me. Build a nuclear power station in your backyard. Oh. You power your real life waifu with money, so what's the difference? Man, I have an Eastern European wife. Do you know what that means? Every single time I have money, she's like, no, you need to save it. You need to save it. And I'm like, for what? For a rainy day. We're living rainy days right now. Like every day it's a rainy day. Like let me spend the cash. Let me buy something. No. You need to save it. You read Brave New World, liked it? I haven't read it, but like everyone talks about it. I understand where it's going from. And it's interesting. Like I heard it wasn't a criticism. It was actually like something that would be nice if it happens, but like the author went over the top and like created this very horrendous book. Turd Flicking Monkey is in a long-term relationship with his doll. Her name is Celestina, if I remember correctly. I mean, isn't Turd Flicking Monkey an MRA? Like he got burned with a previous relationship or something like that. I don't want to judge people. Like, look, if because the thing is, as a man, you have needs, okay? And if you find a way to satisfy those needs in order to like live the life you want to live without having to bother with relationships and stuff, that is one way to do it. Although, when you get old and you realize that you're alone and you don't have any family members coming for Thanksgiving, you don't have any family members coming for Christmas, you think it doesn't matter, right? You think it doesn't matter, but it does. Because I went to the hospital and I spoke with elderly people, both men and women. And almost everyone that is alone gets massive depression when they're old, right? Like the idea that you get sick. Like, think about it this way. You get sick when you're old. You can't get out of bed properly. You can't get out. You know, you need someone to help you. There's no one to call. Like, imagine that for a little bit, right? Like, you get bored. You want to talk with someone. There is no one. So, the things that we do when we were young and we feel like you feel as if when you're young, you're going to be young forever, and the type of life that you have now is going to remain forever. That's not true. Right, and you start to regret a lot of these things and these decisions. So yeah, you know, like I can understand the financial decision. Like if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have money and be as wealthy as possible, yeah, like sometimes, especially if you have a good job or a good career, being single is the way to go. Because no one is going, like you don't have a kid, you don't have a wife, right? So all the money that you make goes into your pocket. And if you find a way to deal with the need for having a significant other, like, for example, you want to have a wife, you don't want to have a wife, so you don't want to think of sex, and you have, like, Celestina, sure. But the question is, like, are you going to be happy when you're older? Hey, V, if you need a software engineer to explain some details on systems like Board or ChatGPT, let me know. Contact me, BD. You know, I would like to hear about some trivia. I already have a friend of mine that's a software engineer that told me a lot about character AI and helped me understand a little bit on the surface. But I'm afraid on the way that people who are software engineers talk about things. Like, they ramble a lot. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, the way they talk, and I already made this on Twitter, and apparently, like, everyone agrees with me. But, like, you ask a software engineer, it's like, how can I get to the office? Holy shit. You ask a normal person, like, how do I get to the office? And they will say, okay, take a right over there and you're at the office. A software engineer will say, it's like, okay, so you walk on these tiles. And you know what tiles are? Like, let me tell you, V, like, tiles are like these squares, right? They're cut in perfect shape, and they need to be equal with one another, because otherwise they don't slot in. You cut them too small, they start to wiggle. You cut them too big, they don't fit. And the surface on the surface that the tiles go to needs to be perfectly flat, because if it's a little bit lifted or it's a little bit crooked, then the tiles don't fit. So you walk onto those tiles and then you reach a door. Now to the door, V, listen to me, don't interrupt, this is important. To the door there is a card reader. Now you know how a card reader functions? Like the way a card reader functions, it's got a laser, right? And it's going all the way and it's got connected to a computer, and it goes to this QR code from your card, and you need to make sure. And I'm like, fucking hell. Like, dude, too much info. Yeah, and literally, they all say it's important info. Like, I don't need to know. Like, for example, I asked a software engineer, right? Like, when I wanted to buy my graphics card. And I asked them, it's like, okay, so what graphics card should I get? And they told me, like, this NVIDIA, I think at the time it was the 180 Ti. And it's like, the 180 Ti is the best on the market. And I'm like, okay, but like, there's this Quadro card. And this Quadro card is more expensive. Is it better? Literally, all he had to do was to say, no, that's not for gaming, that's for programming. And I would be like, okay, right? But no, he explained, no, because you see, like, the Quadro card is actually using, like, a different type of RAM, right? Like, not all energy is the same, so, like, not all computational power is the same. And what the Quadro card does is, like, uses its computational power in order to, like, do some jiggamajig, which is actually very good for graphic designers, right? So if you're a graphic designer, like, what you want to do is, like, you want to buy this Quadro card and you want to slot it in with other Quadro cards and create the bridge. And I'm like, just shut the fuck up. I thought that Turf Flicking Monkey, it's a Gundam sock account. No, it's a different person. It's the same people of Tweak. Yeah, like, imagine this, right? And I give this example. You go to the doctor. And you need to get an EKG, right? Like, which monitors the electrical cardio activity to your heart. Let me show you. So, all right. So let me show you an EKG. I wonder if I even remember how it's interpreted, right? The QRST complex. That's what it's called, right? So it looks like this. You don't want the doctor to start explaining, okay, this is the P wave. This happens when, I believe, the atrium gets depolarized, right? And then you have, like, the QRS complex, and this is the T wave. And what we are looking for, like, you don't want the doctor to tell you this shit. You want to know if you had a heart attack or not. That's it. Literally, that's it. So the moment the doctor tells you you're fine, that's great. You know, if the doctor says, oh, you have tachycardia, and maybe you're... left ventricle is suffering from hypertrophy, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And he will tell you, and you're like, okay, do I need to take pills? Yes. Thank you. You don't want them to actually start explaining all this shit to you. Now, of course, you know, maybe you have an autistic person. Now, literally, what is this? And if the doctor has enough time on his hands, he can explain it to you, which is fine, right? But preferably, the patient doesn't need to know all this. It's kind of like if you're a software engineer, you don't really need to understand how the hardware works, right? Like, it's too much info. That kind of convoluted explaining usually comes from people that don't deal a lot with non-engineers. You can message me on Discord or on Twitter, but after the stream. What does it mean when it's flat? When it's flat, it means it's not connected. Nice waves, yeah, thank you. I kind of want the doctor to explain that. I mean, they can, you know, but, like, only if you ask. Hello, Bistifus. How's it going? Like, again, if you want much info, like, it's understandable, right? Like, if someone, like, legitimately goes to the doctor and goes, like, can you please explain this shit to me? The doctor will probably sigh, and then he would start explaining, right? But, like, in order to explain this, you actually need to understand how the electrical current runs through the heart. You need to understand the 3 points where it gathers. You need to understand what happens with the kinetic muscle, the kinetic movement of the muscle when the electricity passes through. So basically, in order to understand this, the doctor will have to go back, explain that shit to you. And if you don't understand that the heart of the muscle of the heart is made from different type of muscle than the you have, like, 2 types of muscles. You have, like, smooth muscle, if I remember correctly. This is, you know, like the muscle that your stomach is made from. Then you have the striate muscle, which is, you know, the muscle from your arm. The ones that move, basically, right? The ones that you move conscientiously are different than the ones that are in your body and they move they basically without having you to be conscientious about it. But then the heart is like a different type of muscle, which is a mixture of between those two. And say, okay, so that they would have to explain to you that. They would have to explain what the nexium cells are. And then they have to explain how the electrical current goes. You'd probably be there for 1 or 2 hours. But this is why you don't explain this shit to the patient. Unless they ask. And if they ask, yeah, if I was a doctor and a patient asked, I would just give him a fucking book. Because I would be like, I got more patients. I'm sorry. But like, if you really want to, look, you get this book, read it at home, then you come back and we talk about what you read. I see 24.5 viewers and 85 likes. Yeah, I'm astonished as well. Why are you guys watching me? Do you not have anything else to watch? What else is on now? I think Arch is playing a real-time strategy game. Normal technique is just to ask them how much detail would you like. Yeah, but like, I don't know if you can do that. Because you can't really give them an explanation without being too convoluted. Because like there's a lot of stuff that goes in it. Like, basically, you need 2 years of med school until you can go to that and understand it. So, it is what it is. You're a bad doctor with no eye for the patient. You don't have eye for the patient because there's like 20 other fucking patients at the door. Do you understand, man? Like, this type of thinking kills people. I'm not even joking. Like, imagine you're at the hospital and you're waiting and you're sick, right? And you need to see the doctor. And you're waiting and you're waiting. And maybe after 4 hours, the doctor lets you in. Why? Because it responds convoluted, dumb questions to other people. How the fuck would you feel? Or you know what? Maybe your grandma. How about this? Maybe your grandma has a heart attack, right? And you don't know. Like, it might be one, it might not be. It's an emergency. You take her to the hospital. And, it takes a while. It takes a big chunk of time in order for the doctor to see her. And she's in pain. Why? Because patients come with dumb questions like that, harassing the doctor. You need to know when to tell the patient to fuck off. Like, it's different if it's like a family doctor that has a lot of time. But even family doctors don't have that much time. Right? Like, maybe if you go to a private clinic and you find a doctor that literally has nothing else to do, probably a psychiatrist or someone, who went through med school and didn't want to actually practice medicine, so he went into a dumbass field, right? And you managed to catch him and you want to pop him a few questions, maybe that. But like, either than that, no. Like, I'm telling you, doctors are busy. they were dead. I'm not saying that doctors should not talk to patients, heaven forbid. But I think like there's a difference between explaining to you what the pill does and telling you like how the QRS complex works. And like, if you want to know that, go to med school. Go online. Go on Google. Fucking hell. It's so annoying because like you keep getting people like saying, no, you have to. Like, if you don't, you're not a good doctor. Shut the fuck up. You wouldn't like it. I'm telling you wouldn't like it if you're waiting on that chair. More patients is more money. Oh, fuck off. Like, what if it's a public hospital, right? More patients is more money. They don't think like this. Especially if it's a public hospital. You don't get paid on the number of patients. You can have 100 patients, you can have 5 patients. You still get the same wage. I'm a Canadian doctor. I don't know what a Canadian doctor is, but like... V hates human interaction. I so fucking do. Why do you think I went to microbiology when I graduated medicine? Like, literally, the first place I was like, where can I be without seeing patients? Where can I be as far away from people as humanly possible? Like, I want my little lab in a corner of the hospital, do my little research, play with my bacteria, and be left the fuck alone. And that's what I got. And then I realized it was too boring. I actually miss people. But still, it is what it is. Like patients are some of the most annoying interactions that can be provided to you. Especially when they're like, you try to explain to them, right? Like it's serious. Like, it's bad. And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine. It's not. It's just do whatever. Like, for example, you have a woman, comes up. You find that she has blood in her urine. And you're like, it's not good. You shouldn't have blood in your urine. Maybe we should run a few tests. Oh, no, I can't because next week I'm busy. And I'm like, yeah, but it's urgent. Like, if we can see the problem in time, if we can find it in time, we can stop it from advancing. Yeah, but next month I'm busy. Okay. What do you want me to do in that situation? Like, fine, you're busy. All right. No. I'm busy as well. We're both busy. Then you have other people that are like, you're looking at their file and you see liver cirrhosis. Do you drink alcohol? Yes. Can you stop? No. And you want a liver transplant? Yes. But like, if we give you a liver transplant, it will go back into cirrhosis in a couple of months if you don't stop drinking. No, I want the okay. He wants it then. A team of specialists to sit on his ass, right? And make him better again so he can go back home and make himself worse. When there's a list of fucking people that also want the transplant. Because like, if everyone could have a transplant, that would be no problem. But there's a limited number of transplants that could go, right? So another case that this one was the most interesting. Same thing, liver cirrhosis. I mean, liver cirrhosis is the gift that keeps on giving in my country. So this guy comes in, managed to stop drinking. I'm impressed. Holy shit! I'm looking at, because you can tell from his blood works, right? The gamma GGT, it's called gamma whatever. My medical English is atrocious. I only know Romanian medical slang. So you see at his results, like, oh, he stopped drinking. Holy shit! His wife is like, when we go home, we're going to start. Yeah, when we go home, I'll treat you with some of the wine that I have. And I'm like looking at her. You know, it's like, woman, are you trying to kill him? Like, at least tell me it's intentional and not out of human stupidity. Like, I can respect malice, but I can't respect human stupidity. I would prefer neither, but, like, if we're going to go there. V, I want 2 livers. Why you mad, bro? You go into the hospital and I'll tell you why you're mad. I'm literally Dr. House. I don't think I'm Dr. House. And by the way, Dr. House is not that atypical. Like, there are so many doctors that are so fucking fed up. They see everything. I don't have patience for patience, yes. No, but like, seriously, like, that woman would just, and I tried to tell, I tried to explain to her, it's like, look, like, what your husband did is a miracle. Like, do you know how few people manage to stop? Yes, but a little drink won't hurt anyone. And I'm like, yes, no, like, it will hurt him. I mean, normally it doesn't, but like, it will hurt him. I went to the hospital today for heart checks because my doctor didn't want suing chest infection. I told her, but procedure. Took 4 hours to tell me I had chest infection. Oh my god, there's these other doctors. Holy shit, like, giving the patient the bad news. This is a difficult job, right? Like, for the doctor. But I'm like, look, just tell it to him. Like, most patients that go into the hospital, they probably know why the fuck they're there. It's like, just say it. Oh yeah, but the feeling's like, you just say it. To be honest, like, then you have the other type of doctor, which is actually worse, right? So they stuff a camera down your throat in order to look at your stomach, and they go like, looks like cancer. That's good. Not good, cancer. It's like, how the fuck do you know? Why are you scaring the patient? What if you actually send it to the morphopathology lab and it's not cancer? You want to get sued? That's how you get sued. Always keep in mind that no matter how good you are, you can't help it. It's not even about helping them all. I'm not fucking Jesus. At the end of the day, you just delay the inevitable, right? Because everyone dies. Like, that's not the point. The point is having to deal with human stupidity. That's the point. And losing your patience. Because, like, if people want to be helped, like, okay, look, this is my point. You came to the hospital because you want to be helped, right? Then shut the fuck up and let the doctor help you. Don't go to the hospital and you find out, oh, you have blood in your urine. And then you're like, oh, well, you know, I don't have time to come for another checkup. It's like, it's important. Why are you here then? Why are you annoying me? Why are you wasting time? There's other people that need treatment. Just, you're blocking the queue then. If you don't want to be treated, that's fine. Stay home. And piss blood as much as you want, but like, don't come here. So anyway, right. No waterfall to meditate under. No, there isn't. And it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Human stupidity makes you lose your interest from the medical profession. My favorite one, right? Like, they come to the hospital and they have a heart condition, right? So you need to keep up their medication. And you're like, so what drugs did you take? They don't know. Like, You don't know what drugs you're taking. You're taking them every fucking day. When you go to the pharmacy, like you've been taking them for the last 10 years, when you go to the pharmacy, what do you order? They don't know. And then you take like the pill bottles from the hospital and you show them, does it look like this? Does it look like this? Is it this? And then after you make the proper recommendation, you pray to Jesus that they're correct and that is literally what they're taking. Right? It's interesting, isn't it? The correct thing to do would be to send them home and be like, okay, we'll find out what prescriptions you're having and then come to the hospital. They can't decipher the doctor's hand. I don't know. Come on. Dude, if you take the same pills for 10 years, like, get the fuck out. There's no fucking way you don't know what you're taking. Drugs are bad. Oh my god. But like, this is a classic. Like, it's not something that happens once or twice. It happens so often. It's astonishing. I think like this is why the Romanian government is making people have like a medical ID card that has like all of their diseases and their symptoms and their treatment. So like you can know, it's like, okay, well, this is what they need to be given. All right. Chotomate. We were supposed to be talking today about what was the topic? What was the topic of the video? Oh yeah, the financial genius advice on the Washington Compost. I wonder if they just showed this guy in order to shame him. Advice from a socialist. To be honest, you know, like a socialist can be actually a very wealthy individual, because there's like 3 types of socialists, right? Like you got the foot soldier, right? The useful idiot, as Stalin would call them. The useful idiot is the person on Twitter that argues with people, right? Like the type of Antifa individual that gets arrested. I mean, they're always going to be poor. They're not making money. They're just there to be used by others, to be used and abused. So that's the foot soldier. Then you have the Lenin. The Lenin is the organizer. Like, he manages to round people up and get them together. And the Lenin starts making money, right? Because, like, he raises awareness and starts a donation campaign. He has a YouTube channel. He's a blogger. And he's got a Patreon. So the Lenin is starting to make money off of socialism. The Bernie Sanders, if you will. And then you have the Stalin. The Stalin is the person that has been a Lenin and has managed to make sufficient amounts of wealth to the point where he's like now pro Second Amendment and he's using the gun in order to make sure that you get off his lawn. This is the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez type of socialist, the Hassan Piker type of socialist, right? Like the lady that bought large mansions. So you need to understand that, yes, like there are certain socialists that are very wealthy. So you can use socialism for money. If you could disassociate money from socialism, then no one would be a socialist. Oh my fucking god. Alright, this is a level of cancer that I don't know how it got past an editor, but it did. Ethically sound investments. This is another thing that I saw in the United Kingdom, right? Do you guys have this in your culture? Like, hold on. So when someone is shocked, they go like, Jesus fucking Christ. Do you have this? Because Romanians do it a lot, right? Like, something shocks you. Like, you see something so stupid, so dumb, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. Right? Because you're trying to invoke the protection of the Lord. Like, this is a protection spell, right? Because you see something so fucking stupid that you are afraid it's going to make you stupid just by seeing it. That it's contagious, if you will, right? So you're praying to God on the spot. Like, right there, you're praying so that it's not going to harm you. That the stupidity doesn't go into your fucking head. Do you have that? Because I'm really curious. I think Catholics don't... No, sorry, evangelicals don't have it. Greeks do it too. Yes, I know, like, Greeks do it. But, like, Catholics... Do you guys do it? Yeah. Evangelicals don't, right? Do Muslims do it? Muslims don't do it. They don't do the cross, obviously. But like, do they have, like, something similar? Like, do they have a sign that they do when they see something that scares them? I don't think you Allah Akbaring, right? I think you're doing like, or inshallah. Like, what do Muslims say? Like, there needs to be a saying. Like, you see something that's so stupid. Like, the British would be like, Jesus fucking Christ. Do they pray on the spot? No, I don't think they pray on the spot. Yeah, it's kind of like touching wood in a way, I guess. But I need to talk to a Muslim. Like, I need Abdi Muhammad to explain to me, like, what do they do? Right? Like, you see something that's so dumb, like something that is so like, monumentally stupid that you need to have like an expression. And only God can help you. No, because it's not haram. It's not inshallah. Inshallah is God wills it, right? I'm talking like the type of thing where you're sent to get advice from a socialist, right? Like an anti-capitalist telling you how to invest. You're like, Jesus, we're up to this? Like, we're at this level? So anyway, many young people today, of course, 30, believe many of the traditional methods of getting rich under capitalism are unethical. Hey, if it works, it works. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how many people... Like, look, it's already difficult to get rich. It's already very difficult to get rich. You want to minimize my chances of getting rich now. Because you're saying, like, okay, let's say that there's 10 ways to get rich. 5 of those ways are unethical and 5 are ethical. So you're now removing 5 of the ways off the table. Now I only have 5 ways of getting rich rather than 10. It's a value system that makes their career as a financial planner unique. Instead of leaning on the stock market, real estate, right, instead of leaning on common sense, the Philadelphia-based self-avowed anti-capitalist advises clients on how to engage in ethical investments. That strategy often means avoiding investment that supports the fossil fuel industry, private prisons, border control agencies, and it might involve redistribution of wealth to people who need it, to organizations that help refugees. Okay, so basically he's talking about if you want to avoid paying taxes, you need to have a couple of charity work, right? Like that's one of the ways that AOC, for example, you know, she went to the Tax the Rich Gala, right? That event. In order to show to people, it's like, oh, well, I'm donating to charity. But in reality, it's just a tax write-off. So basically, he's saying that your tax write-offs need to be for leftist causes, right? Like, he's an anti-capitalist. He's like, oh, yeah, bring more immigrants. Sure, fine. But the fact that it limits your investments, like, so you're telling me that if I see that private prisons are booming, right? Like, let's assume that you have a new president that's like, oh, yes, law and order. Got a new Giuliani in New York. And now we need more prisons. And I see, okay, well, the prison stock is... Well, I can't invest in that. Holy shit, it's not ethical. Keeping criminals off the streets? Oh, Dios mío, I would never. That is only capitalism, you know? Like, normal socialist places, we send prisoners to re-education and gulags. But, like, in capitalism? Oh. A rising majority of young adults are critical of capitalism, much to the horror of dismay of people like myself. In Washington, calls to tax the rich are often based on the fact that wealthy people, especially millionaires and billionaires... Oh, shut the fuck up. It's not millionaires and billionaires anymore. Okay, like Bernie Sanders, ever since he became a billionaire... I don't know if you guys have followed this. But ever since he became a billionaire, Bernie Sanders only cares about the billionaires now. I'm not punching the microphone. Shut the fuck up. I'm punching the mic. The mic is fine. I bumped my head against the microphone, but that's it. Anyway, advocates often criticize that these forms of passive wealth growth, saying that they're hallmarks of capitalism. By the way, the fact that you have so many millionaires in the United States, like, it should appreciate capitalism. Do you know how many millionaires are in Romania? Probably far less than in the United States. Like, that should tell you something. But being a millionaire now is actually not that interesting as it used to be, right? Because inflation, because inflation. But I know so many millionaires now. I'm actually surprised. So I know Tim Pool, I know the quartering. I just realized I'm surrounded by fucking millionaires. What do they have that I don't? But, like, seriously, it's not like a big thing as it used to be. Being a billionaire is a big thing now, or at least having $100 million. All right, like if you have $100 million, all right, not 100, 20 or 50, right? If you have 20 or 50 million dollars, all right. But like other than that, most people will not be millionaires, but it's not as mind-blowing as it used to be, is what I'm trying to say. You know, like chances are you probably know one millionaire in your life. If you're in the United States, right, in a city, and you're hanging, like maybe your boss can be your CEO or someone like that. Being someone who wants to help people with money, to help people use money and debt as tool to get the best life they can, I found it super important. My fucking God, like this expression tells me everything I need to know about his political ideology. Super important. Right? Like, isn't it something that's used in corporations mostly? Am I wrong? Like, whenever I hear super important, I'm in a corporate environment. I never heard the word super important anywhere else. But it's the fucking corporate environment. I guarantee to you, it's the corporate class. Does Romania have a DeSantis and a AOC or what? Man, even our communists are right-wing here. I mean, it's Eastern European politics, all right? Like, we do have like a corporate class, right? So like, I wouldn't call them woke, but they are for like, big corporations, like restricting free speech, the agenda, like they're globalists. Yeah, like that's how I put it. But like globalists that aren't into identity politics. Sargon never comes around anymore. I'm actually talking to him about maybe we can play a Dungeons and Dragons or something. That would be cool. Yeah, corporate toddler speak. Oh my fucking God, you nailed it. That's what it is. It's corporate toddler speak. Super important. To start acknowledging that my clients, the entire economic model of the United States and the majority of the world is not a fair model. Oh my fucking God. Yeah, if you ask them, like if you want to dismantle a socialist on the spot, ask them what is a fair model. Like name me a country that has they can't. They won't. Because they're constantly comparing themselves with a utopia. Right? It's like going and saying, oh my God, it's not safe for babies to walk on cars. Why? Because they don't have a force field around them that protects them in case of an accident. And it's like, yeah, but like, what do you want? Oh, we need socialism to have that force field. And you're like, no, like it doesn't exist. The technology is impossible. No, you don't know it until you try it. Put me in charge, I will have socialism, and then all the babies are going to have force. It's like, you're mental. Like, you're not even making sense. What? No. They believe it is unethical, arguing that workers often don't earn incomes in proportion to the profits the companies make. Yeah, but like, look, okay, let's say that the workers would earn profits that are directly proportional to what the company makes. Number one, how will the company ever invest in something else again? Right? Because most of the profits go to the workers. So like, let me, okay, I want to make a video game, right? So now I will, first of all, when you make a video game, 30% of the sales go to Steam. Your publisher takes, let's say, 20%. It's already 50% of the money gone. Like, right off the bat. And then you also have, from the remainder, you need to pay taxes. The banks are going to take a cut. Like if your money comes through the banking system, they take a cut. At the end of the day, if you're lucky, maybe you get like 20 or 30% off of what you made. And take into account that in order to make a video game, like an indie game can cost around $20,000. Now just imagine that after all the work you do, right? Like finding people, giving them the idea, getting them to work together and doing all of that. After doing all of that shit, you now have to pay everyone a percentage of the sales. I don't even know how much money I'm going to make. But like, okay, so after all of that, how much do I get? Do I get like 5%? Right? So I need to pitch in money. I need to get like $20,000 in order to start my video game and start paying everyone. And then after doing all of that, like taking the risk, because at the end of the day, the game can just not sell and I lose all the money. So I need to do all of that, taking all of that risk. And, I seem to be like the person that's shafted the most. Because if I'm an artist and I just draw a piece of art for a game and then I get like a percentage of that game's sales, I would rather be the artist. You know, like I don't care. Like I'm not investing anything. There's no risk for me. I can probably draw for 2 or 3 different video gaming companies. Holy shit, I'll be wealthy as fuck under this system. It's such a... I just... Yeah, not to mention the piracy. But like the piracy isn't even the problem. Because you account for that. You know, like you expect that it's going to be pirated. That's not my main concern. My main concern is like even when you get like all of the sales, right? So you get 100% of the sales. The government robs you. The system of distribution has to be paid. The other people, like the publisher, needs to be paid. So it's like, it is what it is. Making business is expensive. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like all these people who are talking about, oh, the workers need to be paid ethically, right? They're only thinking from the perspective of the worker. They do not think from the perspective of the employer. Like the employer is being robbed fucking blind. And he's the one that takes the risk. Like if for example, let's say I make a video game and an artist sues me. Why? Maybe he considers, maybe I get sued because one of the art from my video game is too similar to a character from a different video game, right? So all of a sudden I get sued. Let's say I lose the lawsuit. Are the workers going to pay? Like, should I go back to the artists that helped me make the video game and say, hey, look, you got a percentage of the earnings, but we got sued, and now you have to pay. Would that be normal, right? So, or is it still I that need to hold all the fucking risk? Which seems to be like, because if that's the case, like maybe it's a factory, not even a video game, it's a factory, and one of the machines, one of the robots breaks down. Should all the employers then? And not to mention, like, what this system encourages is to get rid of employers. Like, if you have a system where every employer is being paid a percentage of the total profits, then if you run a McDonald's, why would you want waiters? Why not just have, like, those robots where people use the touchscreen to order? And you replace the waiters that come to the table. Maybe you have just one waiter, and he's going to have to deal with the whole restaurant. Because you don't want a lot. Like, you're paying the percentages. Are you fucking insane? Look at this. After all of the nicest clients at the firm, one study from 2019 found that LGBTQ millennials have suffered great financial struggles than any other demographic. Yeah, well, no fucking shit if you're listening from advice from the insider. If this is like you're taking advice from anti-capitalists on how to make money, yeah, sure you're going to struggle. I mean, doesn't even surprise me. This is just to be expected. It's working as fucking intended. Taking advice from anti-capitalists on how to run in a capitalist system. I mean, it's just... McDonald's are basically just touchscreens these days. Yeah, and I can understand. Like, do you know how expensive it is to hire a person? And it's not like you're thinking, okay, so this guy, he's making minimum wage. And let's say he's making, I don't know, depending on what country you're in, let's say he's making $500 in Romania, right? I think that's close to minimum wage here. He's not being, like you're looking at it and it's like, oh, the employer pays him $500. No, he's actually paying him probably $1,000, right? But he's being taxed almost half of what he makes. That's why he makes $500. Because like the other half, the employer has to pay for the accountant that does the taxes, has to pay for the guy's healthcare, pension, taxes for the government. Like there are so many things, right? So if you didn't have all these taxes, maybe those greedy capitalists could afford to give you more. Or at least hire more people, right? Because that's another thing. Like, you go to work and you're tired and you're wondering why. And it's like, oh, I'm doing the job of 5 other people. So, like the person in charge may hire more people if it had more money. And it wasn't that difficult and filled with paperwork. Is that expert a proponent of punch a landlord? Probably. And again, like, these are such dumb concepts. It's like, okay, so you don't want landlords. Do you know what would happen? No one would rent. And you need a place to rent. Where do you go? I do not understand these people. I genuinely do not. There are taxes on top of the pay. This is in a lot of socialist countries. Man, like, if I make my game, right, I will have to open another company for the game. You get taxed once when the game makes the profit. And when you extract the money from the company through dividends, you get taxed again. Even though like double taxation is illegal, they find ways. And you also have to pay the VAT tax. You're gonna get taxed 3 times for the same shit. Corporate world has been shifting the tax burden towards labor on purpose. Well, of course they are. No, every person, like, if you could find a legal way, so legal, right? Like legal way to avoid paying taxes, a loophole, right? If you find it, do you use it or not? Of course you use it. Every fucking person uses it. Why do you think corporations wouldn't? Corporations are made by people as well. Taxing the taxes is beautiful. I know. Everyone must own their own house, even if they go... You know, in Romania, I think like house ownership is up to 90% or something. Anyway, right. I should be going now. Thank you guys for watching the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll probably do it the same tomorrow because I made the video on my main channel and then I got people to watch here. And it was entertaining. The problem that I have, and I really need a solution for this, I do not know the titles for the fucking streams. Do you know how difficult it is coming up with a good title? Because I don't have like many articles to talk about given the fact that I have 4 different videos that I make every day. I run out of topics. So, on the stream, I like to interact with chat and I talk about random stuff, right? So we go from medicine to Turd Flinging Monkey to Tim and Pool and we talk about a lot of stuff. I don't know what title to put to the streams. Tell me in the comments. I'll read the comments for this one. I'm really curious. See you. Take care.